House to Home, presented by Remax Diamond Realty.
Half a day, everybody. House to Home comes with you with wonderful information. You know, it's never the same thing twice on this show. We always try and up ourselves and everything. And our beloved Gina campus is out on the road today. Liz is in the wonderful aircon in her office. I'm here in Harmon at the KUM studios. Gina, you are on location today. I cannot wait to see what you have for us.
You know what? I love that. I'm on location. Look at this, guys.
Wow.
Who does not want to do real estate here in Guam? I'm in God's country, the village of Ipan, Talofofo.
Okay.
Nice.
Three
Very
minutes from the
nice.
beach.
Yeah, I could spit and it'll hit the water.
Okay, please don't while we're recording. That would be weird.
I'll restrain myself, Jason.
Okay, so I guess we might as well, since you're out on the road, this was completely impromptu. Gina said, I'm out on the road. There's a buyer's inspection that's going on. Now we know what you are. Kind of break it down for us and say like what goes on for this because we've talked about it a cajillion times and everything. You're actually going to show us more or less, what goes on.
Well, the buyer's actually next door at the property that he's purchasing. He's here with his inspector and with the seller, of course. And, we're setting up the closing and he wanted to go through all the details, check everything. He brought his inspector and it's become common practice here to hire a home inspector, come and take a look at the property, whether it's new or a repurposed home, renovated, or it's been loved before and now you get to love it too. But yeah, it's become common practice. And I always tell the buyers, be mindful that the inspector's job is to point every little thing out to you. That's what you're paying them for. Some of those things are going to be big things, small things, and then you get to decide what you're willing to accept, what you're not willing to accept, what you want the seller to address, what you're willing to address, and that's all part of negotiations.
Okay,
But yeah,
can
today
you
it's a
move
brand
around a
new
little bit
home.
to your left because I think that's the parking area, right? And that looks
Yeah,
very, very spacious. Okay, that's the main
yeah.
gate.
This is all parking. And this is actually the house next door. So we're going to be putting this house on the market next. But and I wish I knew how to reverse this camera, guys, but I'm sorry, I haven't taken real estate media 101 yet. But this is, let me see. Yeah, this is a very nice house over here in Ipan, and it's got lots of parking. Uh, but that kind of stuff, the buyers can look at it and decide, okay, I want it, I don't want it. But the nitty gritty, and that's why the inspector is here, the nitty gritty is for the things you cannot see with your eyes, or even if you see it, you don't know, is this to code? Is this not to code? And that's what the inspectors are for.
Okay, and Liz, like it's not just the property itself and all of the accoutrement and like and wonderful items that you'll put inside it and everything like that. We also know that it's the things around the home, the proximity to resources. Gosh, Gina, that's beautiful.
I
Um,
know.
Yeah, in terms of the resources, I think the inspector's role is, you should see when we get our report. It could be 20 pages, 30, 60 pages, depending on the inspector. And in the report, they'll flag any deficiencies, such as something that is not to code, something's not working. And then, of course, they're the red flags and then they're the minor flags. So it's a question of which is the seller willing to correct, or which is the buyer willing to accept. So there's that
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
report flags the different things, the important ones, the minor ones, and then a buyer can say, okay, I'm willing to accept this, but the seller must do the three items or the four items. And this happens on a regular basis when we have inspectors, but it's subject to both parties agreeing on what they're willing to accept or what they're willing to correct in the deficiency report.
And I was going to say tangentially, you're also about 4 minutes away by car from the best soft serve ice cream on the island.
EPAN Mobile.
Yes,
Why do we all know
absolutely.
that?
Yep, no, it's a thing. It's a known like thing. Like Northerners like me will travel down to Ipan and make a gorgeous trek down there just for the ice
I
cream.
thought you were I thought you were going to say Jeff's Pirates Cove. because
Jeff's
they have ice
too.
cream too.
No, no. Do you get a wonderful breakfast at Jeff's? You get to like hang out with Mr. Pleadwell himself and everything, and then you get the soft serve.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's the bad part about coming down here is that mobile man, it's right there, in and out. You got your soft serve, you're on the road, it's perfect.
Okay,
Well,
Gina.
not only that, they have Chamorro goodies.
There you go.
Yep.
Okay, now Gina, what about in since we're talking about proximity, what about like the space between neighbors? Because Guam isn't exactly like in Texas, right? Where you can literally have like 4 miles between two quote next door neighbors and everything like that. How densely packed is the neighborhood there?
No, I don't think it's packed at all. I mean,
Okay.
I, for one, I like to have a few neighbors around me, but these lots are 1/4 acre. So I find that I mean, that's a really comfortable space between houses. So no, I mean, I don't think Ipan's densely packed at all. I think it's just perfect. And it has a lot of space for growth. So, I can really understand why people there's a lot of people, their heart is in Ipan, right? And we all still refer to this area as God's country, and I can understand why.
Yeah, I mean you've got the village itself maybe about 6 minutes away. If you've got kids, you can send them to Notre Dame, which is a fantastic school. You've got two golf courses. Look at it, I'm being the realtor now.
Yeah, you certainly are.
Okay, so one thing I do not know that because I've never been on one of these trips with you and everything is Liz, what is your role in the whole thing when the buyer is making an inspection? Because obviously that's a very subjective thing. Do you kind of guide them around? Do you just take notes and kind of like hang
No,
back?
we let the inspector do their work. So
Yeah.
when a person is buying a home, we would give them a list. This is the list of inspectors that are available, and sometimes the buyer will call them and interview them. Ask them sort of those certain questions, and then when the inspector comes, we open up. The inspector does their thing. We back up. We don't interfere. We let the inspector do his. Because sometimes the inspection takes 2, 3, sometimes 4 hours because they climb up on the roof. They check if there are any deficiencies up on the roof. They check electrical. They check plumbing. They're pretty thorough with their inspection report. So for us to hang around and poke around while they're doing their job, we're only getting in the way. And best thing to do is let them do their thing. They're independent contractors who will, we don't influence them in any way, shape, or form. They just do their thing.
Okay, so
Yep.
Gina, if you're not going to bother anybody, can you move around a little bit more? Because I'm thinking we might as well use this opportunity to let people like explore this wonderful property.
Well, this house is locked up. It's under construction. It's right next door. The inspector is at that property. And as Liz mentioned, our job here is to give access and then to to document what the buyer expects done so that we can ensure that it gets done. But we really, that's about it. The inspector, they're licensed to do what they're doing. We're licensed to do real estate, and we put all these people together, and it's one happy family. I mean, that's your goal, is to have happy buyer, happy seller, and happy realtor at the end. But so they're next door doing the inspection, and
Okay.
as Liz mentioned, I kind of don't want to get in their way because they're discussing all the fine points of what needs to be done. But maybe that's a great episode to actually have an inspector with us go through a home,
At a
and that way,
property.
yeah, that way people could get an idea of what that entails and what you can expect and what you can negotiate or not negotiate. That's a great idea,
That
Jason.
would
You're
be
always
awesome.
full of great ideas.
Okay, I'll take that. And it's not even Christmas yet. It's Christmas in May. Okay, so you said that's a half acre lot, right? That's the total size of the property itself.
No, this is a 1/4 acre,
A
so it's
quarter acre,
half
I'm
of the
sorry,
half
quarter
acre.
quarter acre.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
how much square footage of that is the actual house?
The actual house is 2,100 square feet,
That's
and it's on a quarter
nice.
acre lot. Yeah.
That's even spacious for like a family of four.
Jason, man, I think you could fit more than a family of four in here. I wish I had the key for this home so we could go through it, but maybe when we schedule with the inspector to show us what the inspection process is like, we could go through the home. I could go through the home they're in now
Okay.
if we
Liz,
want to do that next week.
okay, yeah, Liz, I was surprised when you said, like that typical home inspections can take more than 3 to 4 hours. I mean, I feel
Yeah.
confident in that because it sounds like it's very thorough. Um, obviously, if a home is older, there may be concerns about, the wear and tear, the impacts of the environment, and all the normal stuff of aging, right?
I think
How much?
if it's an older home, I mean they still go through the regular process. I mean, if everything is up to code, or no, and I think the key element is safety hazards. Are there any safety hazards in the home, such as electrical? Are there any electrical issues? The plumbing, the wiring. They really look at that. So if you have loose wiring which isn't connected, they'll point that out and they'll flag it in their report.
Yeah.
If there's even if there's what do you call those things? Grounding wires or loose
Mm.
wire. They really pick up on all the different aspects during their inspection.
Yeah, Gina, I would assume that's as much a concern as it is for old infrastructures when you have new stuff that you want to make sure like was put in correctly and is all like, connected right. Because like if you don't get that right from the onset, you could be setting yourself up for problems.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I've dealt I've dealt with a lot of new homes, and I could tell you whether it's new or old, expect problems. Just expect that you're going to have problems. And when you have problems, the nice thing about buying a brand new home is they typically are under warranty. Some items are 18 months, a few items are about a year. And so for a buyer, keep in mind that you're going to have a warranty if you're buying a brand new home. If it's not a brand new home, yeah, you're going to have problems. It's part of home ownership. And once you purchase the property, if it was not brand new and you don't have a warranty, then it becomes your problem. But what a nice problem to have. It means you own a home.
There you go.
That's
Okay,
that's
so is the warranty like equal and universal across the board? So the warranty would apply for concrete, rebar as much as it would for, windows, wiring, plumbing, electrical, everything like that? Or do they all have their own like little, idiosyncrasies?
It's
the
that
war
there's a warranty law. Go ahead, Liz.
Yeah, the warranty law covers for, let's say, 18 months. Let's say there's a structural issue, but it is there, the law does define which are covered. And so it's good to have your inspection on the front end. And if, there's a structural crack, that would be covered. The contractor will have to come back and correct that issue. So we usually hand out the law that states which is covered under the warranty requirements.
Hmm. What about things that the customer wants to put in themselves as they were like, like I want to put in super, super high speed internet access, or I have a satellite dish I want to put on here, or I have, like things that I already know I'm gonna put in. That's
So that's
outside of that
the
because
that's the
that's them.
beauty of
Outside.
yeah, but Jason, that's the beauty of home ownership. Once you own it, you could do anything your heart and your pocketbook desires.
There you go. My heart's pretty creative. My pocketbook has to like, kind of like ease off a little bit at this point in my career, but
But you get to save up and plan for it. That's the beauty of
there
it.
you go. And check our playlist, everybody, because we teach you how to do exactly that step by step. Getting your own home. I mean, it's not a completely difficult process, but there is a lot of self-discipline that you have to do, and Liz and Gina really took you through that. So that's further back on our playlist. So check it out on YouTube. Okay, this is amazing. I wish I was down. I wish all three of us were down there together because it looks like a fantastic place. And I know it's a very windy day today. Gina, you're a little bit like
Can you
you're
tell?
yeah. Is this home facing the wind, or I mean, I know it's kind of perpendicular to where the bay is, right?
Yeah, I'm looking at the ocean right now. That's why I sat down so I could just take it all in and relax while I, do this show. And then I'm going to go back and take care of my customer.
Okay, so I think it said it. One of these days, hopefully next week, we're going to actually get a certified inspector, and they're going to take us through the process because this is fantastic. I'm all about new experiences, and I would just love to tag along because I've never been on one of these things.
Yeah, it'll be wonderful.
Okay, so we will set that up, and we will see you guys next week. Make sure to check out our playlist and everything because we got some good stuff coming up. All right, ladies, thank you so much. Gina, be safe down there in God's country.
There's no better place to be, Jason.
You know what? Bring me an ice cream, please.
I'll do
And
my
I'll
best. I might have to store it for you, but I'll think of you while I'm eating it.
There you go. Well, you're great.
Okay. Bye-bye.
House to Home, presented by Remax Diamond Realty.